So, Zeta weak.
Whoa, where'd you come from?
If those are the best equations you got, your days are numbered.
Huh? What did he say?
You two supposed to be players? Or are you just a couple pieces of trash that fell off the heap?
Sho is the kind of guy to drop N-bombs on Discord. Neo, The World Ends With You is the sequel to cult classic The World Ends With You, originally released on the DS. The first game had an amazing story, fantastic writing, some top-tier presentation on the DS, and delightful music. It had all the elements for a home run header except for one very crucial element: the gameplay. I played the original title on the Switch, and it was a borderline unplayable experience on docked mode. The motion controls just did not work in that game. Handheld mode fared slightly better, but it was not enjoyable. I could only get about 3 hours into the game before I said, fuck it, I can't do this anymore, and watched a playthrough on YouTube like a freaking animal to experience the title. I still recommend it, but maybe shell out for the DS original or the mobile version. Anyway, on to Neo. I am happy to say that this game is fantastic. For the record, I'm only on week 2, which is a hot couple hours into the game, but nowhere near the end of the game. But I wanted to make a video talking about my experience so far, and my experience has been good. I said in my previous video about Smash, I really wanted a Sakura Wars character in that title, but I take that back. I want either Rindo or Neku playable in Smash just to have this fire-ass music in Smash Bros. Thankfully, there's a sound test where you can enjoy the music and record it and put it on your iPod if this was 2007 again. Where's the Spotify playlist at, Square? Just to get it out of the way, yes, this does follow the events of the first title. While you can play this game without knowing everything from the first game, it would at least be good to read up on the TV Tropes page. Oh, and definitely watch the true ending, final ending, whatever it's called, from Final Remix. Anyway, our heroes Rindo and Fret are cruising around Shibuya, which I will now forever refer to as the Booyah, and find themselves launched into the Reaper's game. From there, they are joined by veteran and weirdo Sho Minamimoto and fanfic writer Nagi, and seek to survive the Reaper's game. That is a really crappy, non-spoiler plot summary. And I will say the focus of the first title was on the growth and character development of the main heroes. And while there is growth here for the main cast, it isn't the main focus, as the focus is on their influence in the world of the Booyah and the Reaper's game. They have flaws but are enjoyable. A problem I had with the first game was that certain characters like Neku and Shiki were a bit hard to like at first, but thankfully they grew out of their flaws and became much more likable protagonists. Characters like Rindo, Fret, and Nagi stay likable the whole experience and do grow as you play the game. So it's a mixed bag depending on where you sit at, but I think it's a good bag overall. While the plot might be a bit contentious depending on where you're at, the gameplay is definitely a lot better than the first title. You have 4 party members and each is assigned a pin. Each pin is assigned to a different button. Many pins have different applications such as healing, sword slashes, bombs, chains, and many more. The fun part of combat is seeing what all the pins do and what combinations work for you. I find that having at least 2 characters with 2 low damage but rapid fire and quick recharging pins is really helpful to keep the damage and pressure on your opponents, while you have 2 slower but more damaging pins for support. If you land some big combos, you can activate your overdrive thing and do some major damage. While it seems that Neo will be an easy ride at first, but the game quickly shows its teeth near the end of week 1. Strategy, pin combinations, and a little bit of farming are keys to getting through the Reaper's game in one piece. I personally didn't like the healer pins that much. I found that sticking with damage and just going for max DPS was the way to go. You can set the difficulty up for more pins and lower your team's level for even more drops. So battling as much as you can during downtime for stronger pins is a good idea. Just don't be afraid to tone things down if it gets a bit hairy for you. Presentation is top notch. I love this art style that was totally inspired by Persona 5. I definitely triggered someone in the crowd. Memes aside, The World Ends With You is cut from the same cloth like other titles like Persona 5, Splatoon, Go-Go Hypergrind, and of course,
Jet Set Radio!
Which might have been the origin for this kind of cel-shaded urban art. I don't mean it's the first cel-shaded game, I know that, but there's a unique style that Jet Set Radio set and other games have copied. I don't think there's a name for it, but if there is, I'm calling it urban cel-shaded art. Yeah, let's go with that. Whatever the case is, Neo The World Ends With You is a very visually appealing game. Remember, the Switch isn't the strongest console around, So the developers went for more of an art style that's more pleasing rather than pure graphical prowess. The downside of playing on the Switch is that the resolution can be a bit low, and there are a few loading times on the Switch, but don't get this wrong, this is nowhere near as technically bad as Akiba Strip. The recreation of Shibuya is nice too. As someone who frequents the Booyah, I could be like, yeah, I've been there before. Hey, I've been to that restaurant. And yep, I've thrown up there and I've made some really dumb choices there too. Hey, hey, does anybody want a beverage? That's better. Between this game and Persona 5 representing the Booyah, Yakuza with Kabukisho, and other places in Japan, and Akiba's trip with Akihabara, you can almost visit Tokyo through the world of video games. That said, Neo The World Ends With You doesn't have a mode where you can slam 2 strong zeros and get in a fight in a shitty nightclub, but thankfully we have Yakuza for that. Overall, I can give Neo The World Ends With You a recommendation. It's a fun game with a lot of style and a lot of content to keep you busy for days on end. So, are you picking up this title? Let me know down there in the comments. And while you're down there, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell as well for notifications on future videos. And if you guys want me to make a follow-up to this video when I actually clear the game, let me know. That would be really helpful for future content on the channel. And with that, I'm going to finish my strong zero, and I'll see you on the next video. Later, everybody. Take care.